All right. Well, hi guys. I'm really excited about this masterclass today. There's been a lot of things that I've been working on this past summer myself. And one of the biggest things that really came into play was understanding heart coherence. And I've kind of known about the concept of it for a while. I just didn't realize I needed it as much as I did. And so that I knew that if I was in this place, this is definitely something that our community needed to take on board and understand a little bit because the effects of it are really pretty profound. So I'm gonna swap over here. I don't know what swip is, but whatever, you get the point. I'm gonna swap over here. Hi, Sherry, to my presentation that I was working on yesterday. And Heather, in case you're curious, this is the thing I was working on, and I kept like my computer kept dying all day long. It was like 5 times in an hour. I was about ready to throw my Mac out the window. It was not fun. I was like, why do you hate me so? Oh, it was
We're in
hard to
Mercury
stay.
retrograde, right?
I know
Yeah.
every technology thing goes wonky during Mercury. Oh, it's been crazy, but I got it done. Hopefully it's going to be coherent enough. So speaking of coherence, guys, welcome to the Burnout to Balance Masterclass. This is all going to be about using heart coherence to navigate your author career and then to also come from a place of true, like, I don't even know how to describe this. The shift in me over the past, I guess, 2 months I've been working on this has been pretty profound. And so I'm really excited to share all this. And I have a story coming up, so I'm just going to dive right in. Okay. So, for those of you who are new, which none of you I believe are, but for those who might be watching this later on down the road, my name is Carissa Andrews. I am the founder and CEO of Author Revolution. I'm also an author with 25 plus books at this point in time across 3 different pen names. And I help authors who are finally hitting their breaking point. I'm done with all this stuff. I want something to change, something to shift, something's got to shift moment into kind of learning how to get their careers to finally move forward. So, the purpose of this particular masterclass is going to be discussing the implications of burnout on authors because, as we know, indie authorship is a bit crazy. Like all the things, we do all the things, we have all the hats. And there have been a lot of groups and a lot of modalities and mentalities and ideas that have perpetuated this perpetual motion of constantly having to write a book in order to be successful. That just kind of leads to a lot of burnout for a lot of us, right? Not all of us are equipped to be in that place of constantly producing work. Some of us are, like Heather, I know you are. You love the writing aspect of it, and you go really quickly. For others of us, we need a little bit more time to percolate and kind of trust that whichever route you are in, whatever one feels good to you, it's all about learning how your autonomic nervous system supports you. So your nervous system is really important when it comes to deciding which of those routes you kind of go and where you fall in all these things, right? We're going to dive into the concept of heart coherence and what that means and why it's so important. We're going to get you back into a state of balance. We're going to have some tips and techniques to make sure that you are able to utilize this right away to like really get into a state of heart coherence immediately if you want to. And then also, there you go, get some techniques. There you go. I was ahead of myself. I knew it was coming. I knew it was there. Okay, so the intention for today is to equip you with some practical tools and insights that are going to help you, number one, reduce stress because indie authorship is anything but like a walk in the park for most people. It's pretty stressful at times. We're going to boost creativity, which is really interesting and how this whole thing kind of interplays together. And we are also going to help you realign your autonomic nervous system so that you are in a state of balance, right? Okay, so it's story time. This is how I discovered the truth about why our manifestations maybe don't always come in. So for me, it was really kind of interesting. I was in a place of going full steam ahead. Like earlier this year, everything was going great. I had 2 of my rom-com books out. Everything was looking up and up. I was getting ready to gear up for my 4th book in my Accidental Alpha series. And I felt my energy kind of just tank. And it was very odd. Like I had been doing meditation since February every single day. If you listen to the podcast, that's been a thing that I took on. It was an experiment that I've taken on. And I've since continued to do this every single day. And I was like, okay, what in the world is going on? Because I've been in a really good state. Like everything had been going. I had been in a place of it all working out for me. Everything was seeming like it was aligning. And then it literally dropped. And I was like, what is going on? I mean, and it wasn't just author career, it was author career, it was author revolution, it was freelance clients that I worked with for a long time. It was all sorts of things, like in every single place. And it was very clear to me. The universe was telling me it's time to slow down and take a closer look at things. And I was kind of like irritated with the universe because I'm like, but I was doing all the things. But as it turns out, I was not. Go figure. Even those of us who are in this space and who are doing this stuff for a long time, it happens where sometimes we are asking for something bigger to come in, and what we have to do in order for that bigger thing to come in is we have to shed who we were, and that sometimes means how we show up. It means how we're producing our work. It means how we're viewing certain things. It's how it, like any of the beliefs, when you're trying to next level yourself, sometimes there are beliefs that are not supporting that next level version of you. They have to fade away. They have to be challenged, met, and the fear dropped of them. And so that's really kind of the journey I went on through this summer. It started, I thought I was doing all the right things. My mother-in-law and my brother-in-law were coming from England. I had gotten like a month's worth of work done in 2 weeks. It was crazy intense, but I did it. And I took the 2 weeks off and I figured, okay, everything would work like clockwork in the background. And it did not. Everything started tanking. And I realized that I had an underlying belief that if I wasn't working, things weren't working. So even though I did all the work ahead of time, it still, I felt like it wasn't working, right? And so I had to challenge that belief. I had to uncover a lot of things, I had to still let myself go into a really uncomfortable place of not doing all the things. Like I had to go really still. I had to get into this place of what am I missing? What is this trying to teach me? Because I know it's trying to teach me something. And so I have to surrender to the moment. And what I found was that it's kind of funny. I've listened to Joe Dispenza talk about heart coherence a lot. I knew of the Heart Math Institute for a long time. My good friend Tammy, she has her best friend, and I think her roommate, I think she's living with that particular person right now. She is a Heart Math Institute like person. She does all this stuff. And yet I still was in this place of like not understanding how these all merge together until one day I was kind of guided in one of my meditations to go into the heart center. And I was like, okay, well, I've been kind of doing that. I've been doing chakra alignments. I've been doing all this work. But no, it was all about heart coherence. And so I was led to the Heart Math Institute's app. It's called Heart Math. And we'll talk about like what recommendations for being able to utilize this later on. But the app helped me. I'm a very scientific-y, not obviously technically. I'm not a technical scientific person, but I like the concepts of being able to understand the science behind why things work in the way that they do. And so I understand heart rate variability. And so this particular app checks to see where your heart rate variability is in alignment with your coherence. And so what you end up doing is you put your finger on the camera of all things while you're meditating, while you're breathing, or you're going through some of the exercises within the app, and it tells you where your heart coherence is. And for the heck of it, I was just like, all right, let's see what happens when I'm meditating. And I realized I was not in coherence at all. And I was going, what? And it could have been just a fluke because I was, in my head so much in that particular moment. And what I found is like, when you're in your head, you're not in your heart. But at the same time, I learned what it feels like by using this app to be in a state of coherence, what it feels like when you're coming from that strong emotional place versus your head. And it's a completely different alignment for your energetic system and your nervous system. And so that put me on a journey to understand this even more, which is why I'm here with you. And it all starts from the burnout trap. It starts from this place where everybody thinks we have to do all the things all the time. And the indie author industry, as we set it up, certainly perpetuated that. We saw Amanda Hawking and the way that she flew to success, 20 books, continued the cycle of it. And obviously we have authors who are really good at it, who continue to perpetuate that cycle for all of us, but there's not a one size fits all to our author career. And some of us are going to burn out faster than others. So what is burnout? It's obviously this emotional state. It's a physical state. It's just true mental and physical exhaustion. And it's usually prolonged stress is the main cause. Sometimes we don't even realize we're in this place, right? It just drains us. And one day we wake up and we're like, I really just don't give a crap about writing this book anymore, or this series, or dealing with TikToks, or that was my thing. Maybe project a little bit. I didn't care. There was no motivation to do any of that stuff. And yet I was still going through the motions of the things that I know are good. It comes to mind with Taylor Swift's song, it was like, where she was talking about how she can do it with a broken heart, and she's doing all these things and she's actually miserable, but no one knows. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. It's like you go through all the motions of the things that feel easy to you, that are just like innate, but the things that will stretch you, that will bring you into a better place, those are the ones where you're feeling the resistance, because now you're having to put yourself in a new place and you just don't have the mental, physical bandwidth for it. So indie authors obviously struggle because we're wearing many hats. We have the pressure to do all the things, and it pushes us sometimes to that edge. I know it certainly does for me. Oh, there we go. So the impact on success then is when you're burnt out, everything suffers. Your decision making tanks. You're coming from a place of incoherence, and that's going to put you in alignment. So we talk about manifestation, how you decide, you lock in the vibe, and you take inspired actions. So sometimes when we make a decision, we're making decisions from a place of fear. We're making a decision based off of anxiety, or just wanting things to be easy at this point, or just something else going on. And so while it seems like we are taking the next aligned, inspired action step, we're actually coming from a place of lack. And what ends up happening is you're writing from a place of lack, you're trying to receive from a place of lack, you're pulling in money from a place of lack, and all of that stuff, even though aligned to your thought and to your initial decision, it doesn't necessarily put you in a place where everything is going to work for you. Okay, I see some chats coming in. Let me figure out how to get my chats up here. I only see the initial slide again. Why? Why does it hate me? And guys, when this happens, you can come into like the thing and just say it out loud. Let me stop the share for a second and see if we can get back into this thing. Dang it. Why is Zoom being obnoxious? I was even going to ask you guys this, if it was working properly. All right, I give you permission to let me know if it continues to move. Is it moving, Heather? Can you see other slides moving? Yes. Okay, good. Okay, so burnout trap. We're understanding it. Yes. So these are the things. Next time, just say it out loud. Okay, so this is what I was just saying. Can you see all those slides? Yes. Yes. Why does it do it? Not the on the first time. That's so goofy. Okay, I'll include the slides in the upload. Which, by the way, if you guys have been in the membership for a while, so if you're in the membership for the master classes, I'm in the process of creating like a library for them so that you can access them in Kajabi. So rather than trying to figure out where to find them, they're all uploaded with the exception of this one. I'm just making sure that the downloads and all the information that go with that masterclass are put in there. That's going to be launching with the new membership I'm launching soon too. So come September 1st, there's going to be a whole new bunch of balls and waxes and stuff going on here. Okay. If it stops showing you slides, tell me, please, for the love of God. All right. Yay, technology and Mercury. Retrograde.
Wait, can you say like we're on the next slide? Because like you jumped into story time, and so I just assumed that this was not a slide or anything.
Oh,
So I was just yeah.
It was. Do you want to see it as I went too far back?
Yeah, sure.
That was the slide right
Oh
there.
my gosh. No, I just assumed that it was like a quick story and then we are gonna go into the slide. So that's why I didn't jump in to say,
Well, good.
oh,
At least it wasn't too terrible. I can go back
yeah.
and show you. See, here's my intentions. It shows you those things too. That's fine. It's just keeping me on track, really. So
Yeah,
that way I can make sure I'm saying all the things. There's a lot to cover, and I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything.
for
All right.
sure.
So if it stops showing, let me know. Okay. So this is how it impacts us, right? It blocks our creativity. It really does cloud our mind. I remember when I was doing the last book in Accidental Alpha, it came out, it was good. I had a good time. I ended up getting into the flow of it, especially when I started incorporating some fun elements, like twisting there was a scene that my readers had been looking for and just like asking, when is this thing going to happen? And I gave it to them and then I snatched it right back. It was so much fun. And they were like, why? So things like that. It actually did come back, and I did work through the story in a good way. But when you're in that burnout, it just clouds your mind and you're not quite sure what to do or how to move forward with it, right? And like we discussed, it makes decision making harder because you're coming from a place of lack, you're coming from a place of stress, you're coming from a place of not being clear of what it is you really want and how you're trying to pull it in. So you're out of alignment with those true goals that you've been like your inner being, your higher self, however you want to describe it, it knows what you really want. So even when you are burnt out, even when your body, because this is a physiological thing, right? Burnout is like a mental and physical thing, but it's all tied back to your autonomic nervous system, which we'll get into. But if we're out of alignment within our body and our higher selves, now it's like there's this mismatch of energetic like communication going on, and we just get completely out of whack. So that obviously misaligns our manifestations as well, because we're coming from that place of lack, we're coming from a place of overwhelm, and it just leaves us frustrated and stuck. And as a manifesting generator, frustration is my nemesis. I hate frustration. That's why we need to find our balance again. Okay, so finding balance really gives us back our center. It gives us back that creative center. It gives us back that place of feeling like we know our place in the world and what we're trying to accomplish and how we're trying to do it. It initiates the creative spark because we're locked into that true center. It's like our true north, right? It restores our alignment when it comes to our energetics. It restores our alignment when it comes to our decision making. There's so much alignment that's happening. True inspired actions come from this place. And then obviously your manifestational power increases. So what ends up happening is you start getting those synchronicities, you start getting the nudges, and they align you. They're pushing you in the right direction. It's no longer why is this weird thing happening to me right now? Like it's not that anymore. It's now the fun stuff. It's the cool things that it's trying to put you back into alignment with. So let's talk about the autonomic nervous system. I love this thing. Like for me, the autonomic nervous system is super fascinating. I've kind of been into it for a long time just because of my brother through having a brain tumor when he was younger. Like the nervous system, the brain, the way we think, the way we perceive things is just super fascinating to me. So this has been fun to go even deeper than I was aware of before. But it controls all of our involuntary functions. So like your heartbeat, your breathing, digestion. And what's really interesting is like you can control things and how, or you can rewire, I guess I should say, how it controls those things too. So like your breathing and your heartbeats. Digestion, probably not so much, but I'm thinking in terms of like when you're meditating, if you can teach your body how to breathe while you're meditating, your breath work will then change your heartbeats, which then changes your state of being while you're in your meditations. And that's one of the things that I realized when I was in my meditations, that I was so out of coherence because I go really shallow. Like my breathing goes really shallow, and I'm so focused on what my mind is seeing that I wasn't getting enough oxygen. I don't think, I mean, you get enough oxygen. It's just not the same type of oxygen. And so you can train your body to breathe deeper while in meditation. So even when you're seeing things, and even when you're reaching out through meditation, and it alters your heartbeats as well. It's really cool. So there are two branches to the autonomic nervous system: the parasympathetic, which is your fight or flight. It's all the stress hormones. It controls, the heartbeats and the sweaty palms and, the adrenaline and all the things. And then the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digestion aspect of it. It helps you to soothe yourself. It puts you back into a state of harmony and peace. And obviously you want to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system more than the sympathetic nervous system. So it balances stress and your emotions, because when it's out of balance, it wreaks havoc across the spectrum of our author career, as we just discussed, all the things that it kind of puts us out of alignment with. And so it's about getting back into that balance between the two, because obviously the parasympathetic nervous system, it's not the bad guy. It's there for a reason. I mean, if there's a bear in your front yard, true story, happened yesterday. I was grilling and I didn't see it. And my son's like, "Oh my God, the bear is over there." Like, oh, you get in the house really quickly. You get that shot of adrenaline and it's like, boom, you're done. You're out. And then it can go back to normal because you're in the house and the bear's like way over there. And it's just a black bear and it's not a big deal. But you know what I mean? It's like you need that for a moment, but it's only meant for short bursts. It's not meant to be where you're living in a constant state of fight or flight. All right. So as we talked about, there's those two sides. And the sympathetic nervous system activates stress or during stress. Parasympathetic calms the body, promotes relaxation and recovery. It does a lot of really cool stuff too when it comes to inflammation. So when the parasympathetic nervous system is triggered, the inflammation in the body gets lowered, which is super cool. You can do that like through grounding exercises outside. If you go outside, like my husband won't do this. He freaks out every time I do it, but I go outside barefoot on the grass for about 6 minutes and just allow myself to walk through the yard to soak up the earth's natural energy. It pulls away free radicals from the body. There's a lot of scientific evidence that shows that it helps. And then sometimes I'll even do my heart-centered breathing, which I'll teach you in a little bit. And when you combine those two things, there's some magic that happens, especially if you do it first thing in the morning before you start your day. It's like you're just putting your nervous system on alert that this is going to be like a centered, good, calm day. So your balance between the two states is really crucial for your emotional stability and obviously your decision making. And it's not even about like, really, it's not about balance. You want to be more in your parasympathetic nervous system more so than the sympathetic, but you have to have the awareness that the sympathetic is there for a reason. And if you're living in that state too much, that means you're off kilter. You're living in a state of stress and fear more than you're living in your normal natural state, right? Of being in relaxation and recovery. And if you're doing that too often, that's what causes disease. It's what causes cortisol to rise. It's what causes inflammation to rise. It's one of those like things that you want to get in balance in regards to you're in more of that calm state. So how does this affect us, right? So when your autonomic nervous system is out of balance, you're going to feel constantly stressed, constantly overwhelmed, creatively blocked, like we talked about with X until Alpha. I was just creatively blocked for a bit there. I was like, okay, there's something that's not like my brain just felt fuzzy, I guess. Have you ever felt that? Like where your brain just feels fuzzy? You know, you got to write something, you got to create something, and you're just like, I got nothing. But for me, it was definitely the constantly state of stressed, overwhelmed. I can handle a lot before I get overwhelmed. But when I've reached that overwhelm point, it's like, don't talk to me. Like no kids, no husband, nothing. Don't talk to me right now because I need to like just chill out. And that's not a good place to be. That's not my favorite place to be, which obviously then leads to the burnout. It leads to the poor decision making. It leads to lack of alignment. And none of those things are good. So we also then have to realize that it's impacting every manifestation that we're trying to create. Manifestations aren't coming as quickly as you'd like because you have that energetic mismatch. You're in fight or flight, and your ability to manifest is really kind of just put off to the side. You know what you want. Your higher self knows what you want, but your energetics are telling you something completely different. Your energy is telling you, I need to figure out how to get back into a state of alignment and peace. And so it's not that you want more money. It's not that you want your books to sell faster. It's not that you want any of those things. You want to feel whole. You want to feel aligned. You want to feel centered. You want to feel peace. You want to feel supported. Like when you get to the root cause, the root energy of what you're trying to feel by having those things, if you can start working on the energy of the feeling now in that thing, that all of the stuff that you're trying to pull in will come because you're already feeling the feeling. You're training your autonomic nervous system to know what you're looking for. And so when you can put yourself into an energetic alignment with the thing you're trying to pull in by knowing what does it feel like what you do have to ask yourself those questions. Like if I had my author career making the money that I wanted it to make, what's the first feeling I would feel from that? Is it relief? Is it support? Would it be I'm finally seen? Like whatever it is, start going into that emotion and start feeling the feeling now. Okay. There's obviously also unresolved emotions. So stress and fear can get stored in the body. It can get stored as, just all over the body actually, but a lot of it gets stored in the hips. So sometimes using somatic exercises, breathing, and just really kind of putting yourself into that position of like moving your body in ways that allow you to relieve the stress is really going to help. But it also is one of the problems, right? We know that when unresolved energy gets stored in the body, we are going to have to move it somehow before things can shift. And then we have true lack of clarity. So aligning your autonomic nervous system through heart coherence is going to help clear that emotional energy, enabling better focus and clarity through the manifestation process. And it happens so much faster. Like when you do get into energetic alignment with the thing you want, it used to be confusing to me. It used to be like, how do you get into energetic alignment with the thing that you want if you don't have it? But really, it is about asking that question, like, what would you feel? What is it you want to feel by having the thing? And once you can identify what that thing is, if you can trigger yourself that feeling, it's going to bring it to you. It's wild how it works. And you can do this with heart coherence too, like getting into a state of love and appreciation and joy and bliss. You can train yourself to know the feeling of what it feels like so that you can call it up very quickly through your heart coherence techniques. Okay. So harnessing the power of the autonomic nervous system. When you balance, you are creating more harmony, a harmonious environment for your manifestations to flourish, leading to more successful and aligned outcomes. which is obviously what we want. It's the state that we're meant to be in, and it's the state that we're trying to be in. And sometimes we think we're there, but we're really not. And I myself am included in that. Sometimes we just do things, and because we understand its operations and how it works, we think that we're in that place. And then you use an app and you realize, oh my God, I'm nowhere near heart coherence. No wonder. And once you do get into heart coherence, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I remember this feeling. Oh, it's been a while. Okay. Okay. Now I get it. So what is heart coherence? Heart coherence is the state where your heart, mind, and emotions are all in sync. It's a powerful tool, really. It really is a powerful tool that influences the autonomic nervous system. It brings you back into a state of balance and optimal functioning. And we're going to go into the science of why this works. But for me, it's just been like, of all the techniques that I have utilized, including meditation with manifestation, all the things, this has been probably the most profound tool that I've used that can put me into a calmer state, or a more like, I don't even know what the word is. It's not even balanced. It's just like a true centeredness, like where no matter what's happening, unless it happens 6 times in an hour, stupid computer, where it's like nothing that's happening can really impact you much. You're like, oh, I've got this. You trust and believe more in yourself than the external forces that are happening. Okay, so the science of heart coherence. So there's brain heart communication. And these are the facts that I wanted to make sure I included, because I was looking through some research and trying to make sure they were all going in. So I'm like, we're just going to brain dump it all on here so that you guys can see it. But heart coherence plays a crucial role in emotional regulation and cognitive function. In fact, the heart does actually send more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart, which is really cool, because when you're doing your, like if you have an app, like I have the Heart Math app, and you're doing the heart coherence breathing techniques or trying to get into heart coherence, the second your thoughts stray, you can see in real time that you're going out of coherence. And you're like, oh, how does it do that? It does it obviously by tracking your heartbeats. And so it's very interesting. It's your thoughts that impact things down to your heart, but your heart, as soon as you get it into a state of coherence, it's like all of a sudden there's just this like emotional and energetic vibration that just kind of rolls off of you. It's really cool. The communication obviously significantly impacts our emotional experiences, mental clarity, and decision-making abilities, which is what we want. And the scientific evidence, research is showing that the heart generates the largest electromagnetic field in the body, which is really cool. If you've ever watched Joe Dispenza or seen what he talks about this a lot, where it's like the mind is the electro part, the heart is the magnetic. And so when we are trying to manifest, our thoughts are important, yes. But if we don't feel like it's ours, if we don't pull and magnify that state of gratitude or that state of love or that state of heart coherence, it doesn't even have to be like those really big emotions. You have to work towards those. So sometimes you have to, it's a muscle you have to flex in knowing when you're in heart coherence. But when you are, and you can send the thought out and know that it's coming, now you're in that electromagnetic. You're truly amping up your manifestation magic. It's wild. It's so cool. So this field becomes more organized and synchronized when you're in heart coherence. It's not just that, like your whole body becomes more coherent. So your cells become more coherent. The way that your thinking becomes more coherent, your heart and your autonomic nervous system become more coherent. And there's like an after effect from doing it. You don't have to be in heart coherence like 100% of your day. That's not going to happen. We're still human beings, but there is like an after effect. And the more you do it, the more benefit studies are showing that you're going to be in this higher elevated state. So cool. All right. So another thing is heart rate variability. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but it's really cool. Like I've been tracking it with we've got a Sleep Number bed, and it does heart rate variability. I've got obviously an Apple Watch. It tracks heart rate variability. And I've always been so irritated because Colin, my husband's HRV is like way up there and mine's always really low. And I'm like, why? What is this? Like I didn't understand like heart coherence. And it was so funny. I mean, people are different. So there is that. So your track record of heart rate variability is your own, which is different. Like it's kind of a strange thing to be thinking about. But the Heart Math Institute figures out what your personal heart rate variability is. So if it was tracking Colin, it would be tracking a different heart rate variability as its average. But the higher the heart rate variability, the better is what we're looking at. And so we want to have a more resilient nervous system, and we want to have better emotional and like mental health. And so the heart rate variability is really important. And as you work through your heart coherence, your heart rate variability does go up. Other things that help are obviously meditation, taking time for yourself, and even things like drinking more water and working out can improve your heart rate variability. So scientific basis here is that studies have shown that regular practices, like we were just talking about, can balance your autonomic nervous system. And then, like I just said, the higher the HRV, it's linked to reduced stress, enhanced cognitive function, and greater emotional resilience. Okay, so the impact on cortisol and DHEA. Cortisol is the stress hormone, obviously, and we don't want chronic stress in our bodies. So it will continue to produce cortisol when we're in a state of burnout, when we're in a state of overwhelm. And the DHEA is a hormone associated with vitality, longevity, and well-being, which is why, like, I think there's like baby formulas and stuff like that that have this in like as a supplement into the milk to be able to help babies to be able to grow. And we want to have a balance between the two to be able to have physical and mental health. So research from the HeartMath Institute shows that heart coherence practices significantly reduce cortisol levels, and I personally can attest to that, and increase DHEA. So all of this is just kind of impacting how we're physiologically going to be showing up in the world, and it's really kind of cool. And cortisol, for those women in the room, it's like cortisol can impact your weight. You can end up retaining water. You can end up having like midsection fat that gets stored there, and it's not because you're eating incorrectly. It's none of those things. It's just a stress hormone that's getting like impacted in your body, and you're ending up with more fat and more weight gain than needed, right? So physiopsychological coherence is also a thing that happens. It's a state that really kind of just puts you in mind, heart, and emotional coherence, and your whole systems function in a much more cohesive way, which is what we want. We want to be able to get into that place where like we're unfuckwithable, right? We just want to be in that place where like nothing's going to shake us up. We can, no matter what happens, we know that we're going to be able to handle this. And it's really going to help us to take on the bigger challenges of our other careers, take on like when someone gives you a bad review, which can happen. I've never had it happen. Yes, I have. But you know what I mean? So that like there's always something that's going to come up, and we're able to be more resilient with all this stuff. And studies are demonstrating that this all is impacting and being crucial for this together, right? Neurocardiology, it's another field that is really important. Like there's so many different ways that science is proving that heart coherence and our autonomic nervous system is important when it comes to our life. So I'm just trying to showcase all the different ways that this is really going to be important and helpful to you as you continue on this journey. Okay, so these are where I was referencing all the stuff. These are the key studies and references. So if you're interested, the slide will be uploaded, and it will also be a part of, like if you're not in the membership and you've just purchased the masterclass for today, I'll make sure it's in the email that goes out with the replay so that you've got everything and can take a look if you're interested. All right, so why does this whole thing matter? Like we've talked about, it reduces stress, it improves our health, it enhances our creativity, it helps us make those aligned decisions and boost productivity. Hopefully at this point, you know that this is super important. This is why we're here. Because without heart coherence, any manifestations, anything creative that we're trying to bring in can misfire. And it's not that it's necessarily wrong, it's just that we're not getting the outcome back that we're hoping for. So now I want to talk about those heart coherence techniques that have really impacted me. And the first one here is the quick coherence technique. This is brought up by the HeartMath Institute. So like if you were to get the app, for instance, they'll walk you through this as well. But step one is focusing on your heart area, like your heart center. I usually place my hand there because it just kind of brings my focus to that point, and where your focus goes, your energy flows. And so when your hand is over your heart, you're just like automatically in that place of like being able to identify where your heart is in space. Step two is breathing in for a count of 5 and then out for a count of 5. And what ends up happening is if you're doing it like that, it sounds like an ocean wave. Now it's not to be confused with the ocean breath. There is an actual ocean breath where you constrict the back of your throat and you make the ocean sound, but it still sounds like an ocean wave to me. It's like you're just breathing in through your nose and out for 5. And it's really slow, and it just kind of goes in and out. And when you do that, you're also imagining, this is how I imagine it. It's like I imagine love and love particles from like the quantum field coming in through the heart center as almost as if I am breathing through my heart and not my lungs. So the particles are coming in. I hold for like half a second and then it goes back out with the ocean breath out, right? Where it's like in and then out. And so sometimes I'll even visualize as I'm breathing out, stress, tension, anxiety, all those things, doubt, fear, whatever, that's going out with the out breath. And so you want to continue this pattern for 2 to 5 minutes. And what's really cool is like you're going to feel in the beginning like you're probably not in coherence. And if you're watching the app, you're going to see that you're not in coherence probably for the first minute, maybe minute and a half. But if you continue that slow breath and just keep going with it, your nervous system gets triggered. It goes, oh, they're in this place of calm now. They're breathing really deep and really slow. And okay, we can just calm things down. And all of a sudden, you'll see in the app or you'll feel it, where all of a sudden you're just feeling like, oh, okay, now I'm centered, I'm calm. And I've done a lot of different breathing techniques, but this is the first one where the key here is really that focus on the heart center. It's not just the breath. It's about having that awareness on your heart center and that energy is flowing in through your heart and back out. And now we're going to talk about how you can use this in conjunction with like a manifestation tool too in a second. So you can use this at the start of the day or whenever you're feeling stressed. So this is the one that I do when I'm outside and I'm doing the earthing walk. I'll just do it really slow. Sometimes I'll just stand still and do it for a couple of minutes, watching the sunrise or whatever. And it just lets me kind of get into that really true grounded state and let the Schumann resonance kind of fill me. I'm just happy with the whole thing. And it starts the day off in such a good way. So with the meditation part of it, obviously you're going to want to sit comfortably and close your eyes. I personally, I got a meditation seat and I was kind of guided to it. I didn't know why I was being guided to it, but whatever. I had not started my daily meditation practice, but it just clicked at the right time. And now I use this thing every day. But you can do meditation sitting, like on a couch, sitting on the floor cross-legged. You can do it lying down. My only concern would be like if you're not used to meditating, you might fall asleep. So it's better sometimes in the beginning to sit up. Then you'll start to focus on your breath. You'll do that quick coherence technique where you're breathing in the energy through your heart. But then I want you to invoke an actual emotional response. So either a memory that brings peace, a place that brings peace, or just the feeling of love, gratitude, ease, like whatever the emotion is that you're trying to really feel. So if it's support, start breathing in, and you can use it like a mantra. This is how I do it. So it's like I breathe in, I'm thinking love, and I'm breathing out and I'm thinking gratitude, or sometimes I'm breathing in, thinking ease, breathing out, thinking stress going out. It's like, it just depends on how I'm feeling that particular day. But as I'm breathing in that love air in through my heart, I'm also thinking those words and activating the feeling. So when we expand the coherence then with each breath, it just kind of resonates through the rest of our body. And you'll see when you activate a feeling that goes with it, you can see it in real time on the app too. It's really neat. Like your coherence level goes up even further. And to me, that's been probably the most profound aspect of having the app. Now, you don't need the app to do this by any means. But if you're like me, who is like, I need to like see the evidence of it, it's been really cool to do. So as you meditate, then you're silently affirming the positive intentions for your writing career, or you're affirming the feelings that you're trying to get from your writing career. And so it could be like, I am supported in my writing career. So rather than just support in and ease out, it could be I'm supported in my writing career and this all gets to come easily to me, or everything comes easily to me, or it's all working out for me. Whatever the sensation or the feelings are that you're trying to invoke, that's what you're going to be focusing on through your heart center. But if you start to feel like you're getting into that like constriction where you're like, I want it to be true, but that's when you got to back out a little bit. So you're going too specific and your thoughts and your energy doesn't quite align with what you're trying to go for yet, because you don't quite believe what you're trying to bring in and out through your heart center. So you just back out. And then it's just like, I am supported. I am in ease and flow, whatever. If that still feels too constrictive, then pick something that's completely general. generalize that, those just single words, love in, because we all know what love is: love for your family, love for your husband, love for your wife, love for your dog, like just whatever invokes the most amount of love in. And then think of something that you have gratitude for. Is it your house? Is it your cat that's sitting on your lap? Like whatever the gratitude is, invoke those two feelings. Those should be your like go-to places whenever you're trying, like the thing that you're trying to feel through your heart center is feeling too restricted, like if you're feeling a little bit too much resistance there. And I try this meditation all the time, actually, but it works really well before writing sessions to get into the flow of what you're trying to do. And so if you're reinforcing the positivity and thinking like this chapter is going to flow with ease, my characters are going to be amazing, I'm going to have all the right insights, like, but feeling the feelings of it having been easy. So ease is like the biggest thing. Like you're going to be thinking about the emotion that you're trying to invoke. All of a sudden, that everything flows so much easier. And sometimes I think this is why the meditations and hypnoses that we do in Your Future Self and in some of the programs that we offer are so beneficial, because we have some of those that you do right before you write. And it's because we're triggering that sense of ease and of flow and all the things. All right. So biofeedback tools. So the first one that I'm going to recommend is the HeartMath app. It's the way that it looks is like this once you're in it, and it has like little tools to be able to learn whatever. But if you want to just actually go into a heart coherence session, what's really neat is like, let's see if I can start a session. It has a sensor on your phone, and you put your finger over the top of the camera and it starts tracking it. And it takes a second because it's trying to find your rhythm, your heart rate variability at first. And then once it leaves this screen, it will go into one where there's like a little bubble, and the bubble expands and it goes out to help you remember what that 10-second breath is, the 5 in, the 5 out kind of thing. So you just, if you want to just watch the bubble and breathe in as it's going bigger, or, oh, there it is. So when there's particles like that, it means you're not in coherence. I'm obviously doing a lot of thinking right now. And so my thoughts are in control of my nervous system. But as you breathe and you're slow with it, all these little dots will start to go to the edge of the like thin circle that's out here. And you can tell when you've locked into coherence, and it's super neat. And so the whole time it tracks how coherent you are. And if you feel like you're not coherent at all, now all of a sudden you can go into this place of like, okay, let's breathe deeper, let's drop in and just allow it to just chill. And then you just take your finger off of it and it goes, oh, are you done? Okay. And then it gives you all of the information afterwards. So you can go back through and kind of see like, when was I in coherence? When was I not? Or like when I was doing those meditations that were longer and I had no idea whether or not I'd be in coherence or not, because I felt good. Like I felt like I had a really good meditation, but then I recognized by looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, the whole time I wasn't even in a heart coherence state. I was in this thinking out in the universe with my brain state. I was like, okay, so now I need to figure out how to incorporate that in. And that's how I learned to start to breathe deeper through my meditations. And as I did that, I could stay in heart coherence through meditation. Some of the other apps, these are ones that I don't have, or devices. So the EM Wave 2, this one's a handheld device, provides real-time feedback to help you train your system. The Breath to Relax, it's also a mobile app. And I think the HeartMath Institute has another one as well. So it's like the HeartMath one, but I just happen to like this one better because you just do it from your phone. It's super easy. Now, none of these things are required at all to get into coherence. It's, like I said, it's just if you're interested, like I am. I'm such a nerd when it comes to this sort of thing. I want to be able to see in real time how it's working. And that way I know it's working. I know where I'm at. So then when I feel the feelings, I can associate it with, like, I understand why this is the feeling I'm feeling. Does that make sense? Okay, so during the day, integrating heart coherence is really about making it a habit. It doesn't have to take a long period of time. Like I have little alarms that go off like every hour or so to remind me to just drop in. And sometimes I just drop in myself. I don't even use the app. I'm just dropping in. I'm thinking about what I'm trying to manifest, what I'm trying to pull in. And I'll place my hand over my heart and I'll just breathe for about 2 minutes. That's it. I don't go past 2 minutes if I can help it. Just think about it for 2 minutes, breathing in those heart coherent energies. Because now that I know what it feels like, I don't need to do the app as much, but I still do it because it's kind of like keeping me on track. It makes me feel like, okay, yep, I'm still there. I'm not tricking myself and my brain to that, oh yeah, I'm totally in coherence, but that's just me. So it can be as little as 2 minutes every hour. It could be as little as 5 minutes, like in the morning, and then 5 minutes at night. Or it could be like this. I'm going to show you. So I have a morning ritual. You can start your day with 5 minutes of heart coherence. I actually go outside and I do it. I walk, like I said, out on the grass right now when it's winter. I probably will not be doing that because my feet are not in need of being, frostbitten and fall off. But I am doing it right now because we actually have lovely weather. We do have an app. What's it called? Not an app. It's a sheet thing that goes over our bed that we put out, and it's from like Grounding Well or something like that, where it takes the ground from your outlets, and as long as you have like the true ground on your outlets, and it puts it through the little, like, I don't know, it's not even like a full sheet. They call it a sheet, but it's not a sheet. It's like a little mat type thing that goes over your bed. And so when you have skin on contact, it puts you into this grounded state. It also helps train your autonomic nervous system, but it's not through the breath. It's not through like intention. It's just literally through that grounding aspect of it. Very cool stuff. Midday reset, you can use heart coherence during your lunch breaks to stay balanced. So like if you're stopping to eat, just take a few minutes to drop in before you eat or after you eat, either one of those things, to just like be in that flow. 2 minutes of breath work and you're out. Winding down at night, you can do this like right before you go to bed. One of the things I really like to do right before bed is to do the breath work and be thinking about the things I'm really grateful for the day, like what went really, really well, or what things am I grateful for that happened, or the people in the ways that, like my son, for instance, he picks up my daughter. She works until 10:30 at times. I'm out by 9:30 most nights, and I'm not a night owl. And so he goes and picks her up from work, and I don't have to do it. I get to go to bed instead. And so I think about how grateful I am that I'm not out, having to stay up and having to go pick up my daughter from work. I think about whatever magic happened during the day. Like, did I have a really good meditation? Did I have a really great conversation? Did my Instagram feed get more views this time? Whatever it is, whatever I'm feeling like really good about, I will sit in gratitude and do the breath work right before bed. And then it puts you in that good state, because when you go to sleep in a good, like, grateful state, you wake up in the same state you went to bed in. Have you ever noticed that? So like if you're grumpy and you're like irritated and you go to bed, the first thing you do when you wake up is you're grumpy because you're picking up your energy right where you left it off. And so if you can put yourself into that gratitude state, gratitude is the ultimate energy of receivership. And the reason why so many gurus and people will talk about, like, oh, you just need to tap into gratitude because then you'll be, able to manifest whatever you want. But they don't talk about why. It's because when you receive something, you're grateful. The first energy you put out into the universe is, oh, this is amazing. I'm so grateful for it. And so you're training your nervous system. You're training the universe to send you more things that you feel grateful for. All right. So consistency, though, is really key. So if you can just do a couple minutes a day and that's it, even if it's just 2 minutes a day to start with, the consistency part is the thing that's key, because it's training your autonomic nervous system to get into that state of heart coherence. And it's training your mind to recognize when you are in a state of coherence. It's really important to have that repetition, because especially if we've gone off the deep end and we've been in this burnout state and we're in overwhelm and we're in all the things, it's like we're trying to bring it all back in and get back into that alignment space. It enhances your writing too. So pre-writing, if you spent a couple of minutes to prep yourself right before, sometimes it literally can be, it doesn't have to be 5 minutes. It can be just dropping in and just breathing a couple times, going, this is going to be easy. This scene is going to flow. It's going to be so amazing. I can't wait to see what happens. My characters are so unreliable that it's just going to be wild, or, whatever your characters are like. And so just dropping in for a minute, you're still setting that intention. You're still doing the breath work, and you're still putting yourself into a coherent state before you write. If you hit a roadblock, pause to do the quick coherence technique again. So like if you are in a block state, put yourself back into that breath work, because now all of a sudden you're into that alignment and you're into the flow. And what's really interesting about it is sometimes we'll recommend, like, just leave it, like drop it. Don't try to force your scene. Don't try to do anything like that. Just drop it and go do something else for a minute. And then all of a sudden it'll come in. The reason that happens when all of a sudden comes in is because you've allowed yourself to drop the resistance and all the, I need this thing to work, I have to, like, all the things. And you're in that like constricted energy. And as soon as you drop it and let it go, and then just, like, this happened to me when I can't remember which book it was, but I want to say Haunted Legacy. So it's been a couple of years. Ellie was watching, my daughter was watching, gosh, what was I called? Gravity Falls. And so we were watching that together. And she really wanted me to drop everything and go watch it. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm stuck anyway. And so I was just done. And we went down there. And while I was down there watching the show, the idea popped in as to what I needed to do in that chapter. And I was like, of course. Why did I miss that? How could I miss that? Duh. But it's like you're just allowing yourself to get back into the flow state instead of in that constricted, restrictive, everything's kind of funky energy. And then if you want to, you can do it post reflection, right? So you can take a moment to breathe and acknowledge the progress. And when we do that, when we can take a moment to acknowledge how far we've come, how great that session was, we're putting ourselves again back into that gratitude state, right? We're putting ourselves into the place of like, oh, that was freaking awesome. I love that. Or even if it was hard, that was difficult, but man, I'm so glad I pushed through it. Man, I'm so glad this was done. I got X number of words done. Like getting ourselves to remind the mind, number one, and the nervous system that this gets to be fun, this gets to be easy, this is what we want, this is going to keep getting better. It's just going to be helpful. So integrating coherence into your writing routine obviously helps you stay aligned and creative. So one of the things I do recommend is having a space. I do this it doesn't have to be like a designated space. I just have my chair. And my chair I move in front of, I have a sliding window in my bedroom. And so there's a deck and depending on how hot or cold it is outside, I will open the door and have like the screen open and I breathe in like the fresh air, have a little incense thing going too. So it's like I'm hearing the birds, all the things, but it helps you to just, oh, I don't even know why I did the declutter, spend 5 minutes in your heart coherence. Must not have fixed that, but whatever. When you declutter the space around you and you're able to drop in and without feeling like all the things are kind of constricting you, it's so much better, right? When you add calming elements, so like this morning I had a singing bowl. I have a big crystal singing bowl. It's calming to me. And so I'll do the crystal bowl before I go into meditation. I'll let the sound waves kind of wash over me. I have my incense thing burning. It just gets it's all of this stuff is to help all the senses get on board, right? So the smell, the sound, the touch, like I'll drop into all the senses and then go into the meditation. It's just so helpful to be truly present with the meditations, with your heart coherence techniques. And then obviously having clear boundaries, establish a clear start and end time to your workday and to your meditations. Like there were days where it's like I would just sit in meditation and try to like really get into a focused state. But I think I was trying to, in the beginning, I was trying to force an outcome in my meditations. And sometimes that worked and sometimes it didn't. Or like with my workday, I'm constantly going. I have, 3+ businesses that I'm constantly working on. So it's like I've got 3 pen names. I've got Author Revolution. I've got the podcast for Author Revolution. I'm a freelancer on the side because I have 2 clients going down to 1 soon. Yay. That I've had forever before Author Revolution started. And I love them so much. And it's been hard to let go, but I'm learning this year, let go, right? I have my bracelet, which I don't have on at the moment, about letting go. It's my word of the year. And so there's been a lot of things that I've been having to rework with my own boundaries when it comes to letting things go. My husband he is so much better at it because it's 5 o'clock and he's like done. He's like, nope, we're done. I'm going to go play a game now or do whatever. And I'm still over here like, but this is like fun. It's fine. But we all need that time to just set the boundaries. When is our day done and how are we going to have some balance and bring back some of that joy into our lives. So your environment does play a big role in your ability to stay in coherence. So make it work for you. And if you have a lot of stuff around you, just find a space that feels good. If it's on your yard, if it's on your deck, if it's in your bathtub, like wherever it is that you feel good, that's where you're going to want to be. Okay. Holy cow. We're already down to the Q&A part. There we go. And that, my friends, is heart coherence in a nutshell. Whew. There we go. What questions do you guys have? I'm like so excited about this because heart coherence has just changed so much for me.
Okay, I'll go first. So when I know you talked about the apps, but if you don't use the app,
Mhm.
how can you tell when it's actual heart coherence versus like you thought it was heart coherence or you thought it was good, but then you realized actually no, like what physical or even mental, spiritual, whatever, how could you tell the difference now that you know what heart coherence feels like?
Such a good question. So for me, it feels like there's almost like a warmth that spreads across my torso. And the feeling is like this weird, I wouldn't even call it peace because peace feels different to me. It feels just like, oh, that's right. This is how I'm supposed to feel. Does that make sense? It's like it's almost like
Yeah.
an exhale. Like when you finally get the thing that you want and you just it's like this relief feeling. It's kind of strange. And so there's just this warmth and then this relief. And I noticed too, so like if you can pay attention to if your thoughts wander, then you'll know
Yeah.
if you're in coherence too. So if you're trying to pull in like the feeling of love or gratitude, just focus solely on those words. And as soon as other thoughts come in, you're probably out of coherence. So pull back into like love
Okay.
in, gratitude out, peace in, support out, love in, and doubt out. Like however you want to work the words for you in that day. But as soon as you start going, okay, and then after I'm done with this, I need to do the nope, pull it back in.
Hmm.
Because now you've just kind of wandered off and you're probably not in a state of coherence. But what's really cool is it doesn't require a long period of time. You don't have to be doing this for 20 minutes. As little as 2 to 5 minutes in like little chunks throughout your day is enough to put your autonomic nervous system on alert. Number one, it puts you in that coherence. So you're putting yourself into that place. And so that has this residual effect that will affect your day anyway. Like it will start to, it's so strange. It's like even when you're not trying to, it will start to pull you in. All of a sudden you'll have like this moment where it's like there's a rush of energy and you're just like, dang, I feel really good all of a sudden. What is that? It's heart coherence. You just went into that and you didn't even have to try because you're training your nervous system to be in that place. It's super cool.
Have there been studies that show the effects of heart coherence, but like after the fact? Like, can you, like, let's say that the cortisol levels in you are like high for whatever reason for a good amount of time, and then
Mhm.
you start developing this practice. Has there been studies that show like there is a shift in the levels or in the lifestyle or whatever of people who
I'm
start
sure there are
practicing?
studies, but from
Yeah.
a personal perspective, I'll just give you an
Hmm.
example of what happened. So for me, I've had like a low level like inflammation thing going on for my system for a while, and so I've been keeping track. Down at my local clinic or whatever, they do the C-reactive protein draw just to see
Hmm.
like where the inflammation levels are. And so in this past year, we've incorporated both keto, like a keto diet, and then doing obviously meditation and heart coherence. And I just went in to have my blood draw the other day, and I'm at the lowest point I've been since they started taking it. And like the last time I took it was at the highest. And so this was like in the
Wow.
process. I think I can't remember what the date was. I want to say it was less than a year ago that I took the test before, and it's dropped from like zero point 0.7 to zero point 0.3.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's been pretty wild. And it's still in the technically normal level because I think too high is zero point 0.8 or something like
Hmm.
that. But I'm down to zero point 0.3 as of this past week. And so I'm like, that's really interesting. Or like with my Apple Watch, I'm watching my HRV levels on my Apple
Yeah.
Watch go up at like as the average. So you'll be able to start seeing it if you track any of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But studies wise, I'm sure that the Heart Math Institute, Joe Dispenza, like there's a bunch of
Yeah.
people who are going into this a lot deeper than I am. They're going to have those studies. And they're going to have a lot of stuff out there that you can dig into.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you bet. Any other questions? Yeah, Terry.
When you were talking about a meditation chair, is it just that's what you call the chair you were in, or is it a particular thing that's like low to the ground or
Yeah,
made
no,
out of
it's an
material?
actual chair. I wonder if I could find it on my phone quick because I've taken a photo of it before. Um,
I mean, did you just look it up on Amazon and say
yeah, yeah, I
medit?
did. It was, oops.
I just never heard of that. It sounds like a good idea because it would focus where you're going to be all the time to meditate,
And it's
as
so
opposed.
helpful too, like it because it supports your knees, it puts your feet under and then supports your knees so that it's not you're not like hurting your knees or twisting them out. Oops, see if I can spell meditation. share.
Oh, twisting your knees and hurting. That sounds like ballet.
Right? Yeah, you'd be great at it with your ballet. There it is.
That's what ballet is.
Right? So this is what it looks like. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't have it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I
so you
mean, do you,
sit in there and those little slots on the sides, where am I pointing? If you here and then over here, whoops, those are where your feet slide into. And then the two things just support your knees. The things that are going up, like these things are supporting your knees when you're sitting there. And it's just way more comfortable to sit and chill.
like your
Yeah.
knees are up.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah. So, because for me, I mean, there are people that twist it and their legs are on top of their legs, and I'm just like, no, my knees would break and fall off right now. No, and so you have to get to like a stretchiness of that level, and I'm not at a stretchiness of like putting my feet on top of my thighs, so that's not happening. I'm pretty
okay.
flexible, but I'm not flexible there.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say, it still sounds like ballet. So
it does,
yeah,
and it's just helpful, and it's its own place. So we'll be bringing the chair. Like if any of you are going to Author Nation this year, we'll have the chair with us. Tammy and I are at our booth for the industry day. We're going to have like a little meditation like sections set up so that if you want to try out like your future self or any of the meditations and hypnoses, you can. And we're going to have my chair so that people can just sit down and like chill in the middle of this crowded like industry day thing and drop in. It's going to be fun.
one other question. Did you say what was, I couldn't quite hear what you said when you said what the app was. It's heart what?
Math.
Math.
Yep. Heart math. Yep.
Oh, arithmetic thing.
Yeah, kind of. Yes, because it's all about like its rhythm and everything that's happening. I don't know if I show you this, I don't know if you're going to see everything else, but I mean, like we get underneath, see it's this app here, Heart Math. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so helpful. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's like it just made me understand when I was in coherence, and it helped to train me on that feeling and how it all works or feels for me, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I want to get that because I would like to know for myself too.
And they do have a sensor you can purchase, and if you buy the sensor, then you get the app for free. Like there's no payment on the app at all. I don't have the sensor. I just use my phone right now, but at some point I probably will get the sensor, because I think it's going to be a lot easier to do a meditation than holding your phone the whole time and kind of having your finger on there. But it's actually pretty comfortable too. So it's not terrible to the point where I'm like, I need to get the sensor yet, but I have a feeling eventually down the road I will be doing that.
Yes.
What was that second app that you were talking about?
Um,
M.
for
The-
which thing were we talking about?
You had the list, the slide when you
Oh,
had
okay.
on there. You had the heart math. You
Yeah.
had, and the next one was it M2?
Yeah, it's blah, blah, blah. Let me find it here quick. Whoops. Oh, it's gonna be behind what I'm doing. Okay, let me find it again. EM Wave 2.
Wave.
So
Okay.
yep, the M Wave 2 or EM Wave. And then there's the Breath to Relax or Breathe to Relax is the other app. Breathe to Relax.
I'll look that up. And I had another question. When you are doing this, do you then go into your other meditation right away, or?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. So what I do is like, I'll just drop in and do the heart coherence thing in the morning outside. I'm not tying it to anything else. If my alarm goes off on my phone where it says manifestation alert or whatever, that means I either do like a visualization for the manifestation I'm trying to call in, or I do just the breathing and the heart coherence technique, the quick coherence technique. And when I'm doing my actual meditation where I'm going to sit down, I tend to do, at least as of right now, lately, I do a breath work exercise that Joe Dispenza really recommends, where you're like constricting your lower half. So it's like your perineum, your lower abdomen, upper abdomen, you're breathing in through your nose really slowly so that you can feel it's about moving your cerebral spinal fluid up your back into your brain. It cleanses your brain, and it's supposed to put you in a better state of mental acuity and awareness. And so I listen to that with whatever meditation I'm going to do. And there's like 6 different times you do it. You breathe in really slow and you're holding, but then he makes you hold it for like 10 seconds. And so you have to sit there after having breathed in and you're holding, and he's going, hold it, hold it, hold it. But what it's supposed to do is release some of the energy from the body so that you are able to overcome like the body that you are, like the person that you are, and release some of that energy. And that some of that is also that cerebral spinal fluid cleansing the body as well. So I'll do that. And then I use the HeartMath app. And so I go into heart coherence for about 2 to 3 minutes. When I can look down at the app and I realize that I've been in heart coherence for about 60 to 80% of the time, that's when I'll stop the app at this point. I used to do it where I would just do that, and then I would switch over to the meditation and turn the app on again and do the meditation. But now I just use the app for like that beginning part, getting myself into coherence, and then I'll start my meditation. And then I haven't been using the app during that particular part, but I still have been using the breath work. I've been training my body on being able to breathe deeply while in meditation versus like going shallow, because I think that's probably the biggest reason I wasn't in coherence, heart coherence with my meditations before. I wasn't breathing deeply enough.
Yeah, I know I'm a shallow breather all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll take a lot of practice.
Yep. Well, no, what's really interesting is it doesn't take a lot of practice. I'm also I'm a shallow breather during sleep. I'm a shallow breather during like all the things, because I think it's that stress thing, right? You're doing a lot of stuff. And so you naturally breathe more shallow. And when you relax, you breathe more calmly and deeply. And so the more I've realized how it works, and I've been slowing my breath work down, I've been seeing it like in the sleep app again. I've been seeing my breath work change there. I've been seeing how in meditation, I'm able to go into that longer, slow breath, and I'm not having to focus on it as much anymore. In the beginning, it was like it almost took all my mental capacity just to focus on making sure I was breathing slow and deep. And I'm still listening to whatever the guided meditation was, or if I'm doing my own meditation, I'm still trying to focus on both. But now it's like it's getting much easier. And this has probably been, I guess, about 6 weeks, almost 2 months that I've been using the HeartMath app and going into all of this stuff. But it's been such an easy transition, or easier transition than I thought it would be. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, Terry.
I was going to say, I know I'm a deep breather. Even when I was younger and I took swimming, I could go across the width of the pool underwater without breathing. And they'd all go, what? I'm really good at holding my breath and stuff. But I also have meditated a lot. And one thing I want to say about the breathing is a lot of times when people are older, like me, they don't breathe, because if you're sitting around all the time, and especially for a writer, if you're sitting around, a lot of times people don't bother to use their breath and breathe deeply.
Yeah.
But I've done that. And so my breathing is really good. So I can hardly wait to get on this app and to see how.
That's so good.
But
I can't wait. You're going to have to send me some screenshots and let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I will. Well, it's very important. I don't care what age you are, to deep breathe every day, 2 or 3 times a day, definitely, especially if you don't do anything that's aerobic and makes you deep breathe. And so,
see, I do that sort of thing, but I've noticed that this has really impacted the way that my mental health and just my alignment is, more than just the workouts. Like I do what's it called? Sure Thing from Beachbody right now. And there's like a combination of like weight training and cardiovascular stuff. There's all different types of workouts. And then there's like 1 week is strength training, 1 week is endurance training, 1 week is what's it called? It's like a active recovery week or something like that. So it's like I do a lot of that stuff, but even any of that, even though I can, like, my cardiovascular breathing is good, this deep breathing is so different. It's so different.
And that's why it's like a lot of people when they're older, if you don't do that, your lungs reduce the ability to breathe deep.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And then you're not getting enough blood through your body. You're not getting enough oxygen into your brain.
muscle. If you don't use the muscle, it atrophies, and your lungs can do that too. So that, people that are in their, I don't know, 70s, 80s, 90s, if they're very sedentary,
Yeah.
they're not going to have that capacity to even do that. I mean, it would take a lot. And
Sure.
so it's good, no matter what age you are, to really concentrate on breathing every day. It sounds silly, but what you normally breathe, you need to be aware of that just for when you're older, so
Well,
that
you've trained your autonomic nervous system to breathe like that. You know what I mean? So like if you're a shallow breather, and you're a shallow breather when you're meditating like I was, or when you're just focusing on the things, you've trained your autonomic nervous system through the thoughts that you're thinking and through all the stress that you're inducing. Like if you're not in that calm, peaceful state, you're doing that. So you're restricting the oxygen getting to your brain. You're not thinking as coherently. You're not, your system's not as coherent. It's like it impacts all these different things and we don't realize it. It's so interesting.
These classes you give are so incredible.
Oh, thanks, Terry.
Information is so great. And no matter what information I've had, I always get an upgrade from every one of these classes. And it's just, I go, so but I want to say how important the breathing is. Even if you're not trying to do all the other stuff, it's really important to deep breathe so that when you're older, you can really still breathe, because it's important. That's why a lot of people get sick, is they can't breathe, really. They
and then when they get an infection in their lungs or something, and all of a sudden it's like there's not more capacity there to be able to push through it.
Exactly. So
that makes sense.
I just want to say how important this class really is. So
good. I'm so glad. I thought it was like, to me, it was so important to me when I was guided to, in that meditation, to get the app and to learn about heart coherence on a deeper level. I wasn't quite sure why. I thought it was just to, like, for my own curiosity's sake, like, am I in coherence? And there was probably a cockiness to it where I was like, of course I am. I know I am, because I've been doing this since February. Right. And I did it. And I was like, oh, what? Wait a second. Dang it. On the upside, because I was aware, I was able to shift it pretty quickly. And so I was able to put my focus into actually doing the shifting. But I did. I thought for sure I was like in there. I was like, I got this. This is going to be so awesome. And it's going to tell me I don't need this app. And I was like, oh, damn it. Okay.
That's what's great about all this. Apparently, because you were into health and all these things, you draw these things to you. So you do this app to you, obviously.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's so funny. Like I said, Tammy, her roommate and best friend is a Heart Math Institute like practitioner or whatever. And she and I have talked about it, and I didn't know what heart math necessarily was. I kind of had an idea because we briefly like talked about it. And that was as far as my education had gone. And it wasn't until, like I said, 6-8 weeks ago that all of a sudden I got that hit, and I've gone deeper, and I'm like, why didn't I ask these questions of Tammy sooner? Like, it would have been so much better. And I don't even know how much Tammy knows on the same level as Chris, because I'm sure Chris is has so much of knowledge in her brain if she's a practitioner of this. There's a piece of me that's like, I actually wouldn't mind getting certified in this in Heart Math Institute as a practitioner, because it's just been that profound in the way that it's impacted my resiliency of mind. Like, there's been some weird stuff, like Heather knows, there's been some weird stuff coming at me this past couple of months. And I'm just like, what in the actual, like, what is going on? But it's like the heart breathing and the heart coherence has, I don't know, it's just put me in this much more resilient state of mind, that it's not like, I just don't worry about things not working out anymore. It's like, of course this is going to be the case. And before, I felt like I thought that. And I think there was probably a part of me that thought that for sure, but I don't think my energetics were in the alignment with it. And that's why all of this has happened, so that I could get my energetics on board with the things that my belief system was trying to install. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I'm anxious to do it, to see that my deep breathing is doing something and I can focus. I never thought about it in that way. So this is really,
it's so cool. And what's neat too about the Heart Math app, so like when you're in it, if you do it, so like they'll have like a home screen where it'll be like explore more of it, and it'll kind of walk you through, like, start now, it'll give you more information about like different programs that they have in there, and they're usually like these little short 6 or 7 days where they're going to teach you something else about heart coherence. There'll be like a, I don't know, 4 to 6 minute like lesson, and then it will go into a heart coherence technique that they were talking about, or why they were talking about it in the first part of the lesson. You'll do it for 4 to 6 minutes there, and then they'll talk about, you know, like, how did that feel, blah blah blah, whatever afterwards, you know, enjoy, we'll see you again tomorrow kind of thing. It's just been so neat because like it gives different types of techniques for heart coherence too. So like if the quick heart coherence technique doesn't work for you, there's other options that you can try out. But for me, the quick coherence technique has been probably the most profound. It's just, and it's so simple, right? It's so simple with a breath. Yeah. Any other questions? Anything else coming up for you guys? No? You got Rip back there. What the heck?
My husband brought him home.
Ooh,
my
together.
my stepson had an appointment with his counselor, and I guess they were trying to get rid of the cardboard cutout. So when my husband saw it and verbalized, "Oh, that's Rip," they were like, "Do you want it?" And he was so proud of himself.
That's so cute.
Yes, so obviously my favorite character is Kevin Costner's character, but I made sure that he got all the credit in the world because I love Rip as well. So, you know,
Yes.
and then he put him there. Like, it's almost like he's watching
He's watching
me.
you.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay.
Or is he watching us? He's like, are you doing the right thing over there?
I think he's keeping an eye on me, to be honest, making sure, like, yeah.
Love it.
But yeah. That's
So
Rip.
good.
I don't know if he's gonna stay there or not, but we'll find out. We'll see.
I think we all need one of those.
Right?
Or
Oh,
that's made up of your own characters.
Oh, right. That would be so fun.
cool. That'd be
Yeah.
so cool. Gosh, love it. So good. Rip's probably my favorite character. I like Rip.
I do like Rip.
I mean, I like Kevin Costner too, but not as much as Rip. Because he's got to deal with some crazy shit. He's got to just really deal with some nut stuff. From Terry, have you watched Yellowstone?
Yes, I have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just
kind
love
of
it.
Rip's okay, but I don't know. Maybe he's more my era.
Yeah. That makes sense. I love it. Oh, guys. Okay. Well, if there's no more questions, I guess that's our masterclass for this time. Is there any topics that you'd like for next month? Anything that's kind of been on your plate or things that you've been working through that you'd like to have some clarity on? Because I'm more than willing to, you know, go in the direction that you guys really need help with, as well as things that like pop up that I'm like, oh my gosh, we need this as a community.
I don't know if this is like a masterclass or a meditation, but I feel like especially like even in this class today, you were talking about, you know, talk to your author career or talk to your higher self or the future self of you of where you want to be, and like what is she feeling or what is her mindset that you need to start incorporating. And so like either like a meditation on just literally having that conversation, or even I don't know if it would be, like I said, a masterclass of figuring out like how to do that, but I would love to know or to be guided through like, okay, like the way that you did with the board thing for your future self was like perfect, because now I can do it with your guided stuff, but I can also go through the steps on my own if I need to too. And it's like I want to have this conversation, but I'm the type to get that wandering mind or overthinking. And when I have a voice to like, okay, here either the steps like in your masterclass or like in the guided meditation, it's like that helps me focus a lot on.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
I think we could probably do both, to be honest, because understanding why it's important to become and embody the version of us that we're trying to call in, I think that's something that a lot of people don't really understand. Like when we want to get faster at manifest something, it's like we almost have to become or think like the version of ourselves that already has it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we show up as that person, our energetics are shifting. Like we are showing up as a different version of ourselves. We're no longer operating from the person we are now. We're operating out of the person we are becoming, or the person that we will become, or the person we want to become. And that's a really big distinction when it comes to that energetic like attraction point. because the future version of you, your future self version of you, is going to be attracting things differently than the version you are right now. And so when we can tap into that that quality and understand how that's different and why it's so important to become that person instead of waiting for all the things to line up to become that person, that's really kind of a key moment. So yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense.
But
And
also,
I think, oh, go ahead, Sherry. Sorry.
I was thinking when you're looking at this stuff and your future self, it's like sometimes I think my future self is this over here, but then something will come along as we start going through the courses and everything to go, that's really not you. So getting clarity on what that is, like I can use an example of this other person that another author who is just busting butt to, like, she wants to be best-selling author and she wants to have this type of life, and it's encouraging to see some of what she's doing, but I'm also thinking you're going to burn out.
And you've seen it through experience.
Need that? Is that really you? Do you really need that? And maybe it also comes to like where I am in this stage of my life. Like there are certain things I want in my author career, but I don't have to be this New York Times best-selling author who's on this cross-country international tour.
Right.
I don't need.
So then it becomes like the concept of, okay, so what is the feeling that you want your author career to bring you? And does it have, like, for that person, it could be like they want that like large recognition. They want to be seen as like the best in their genre, like all the things that might be their guiding principle, because for whatever reason that lights them up, right? But if for you it's, I just want security, I just want to have money coming in that I don't have to really think about so that I can take care of my grandson. Like when you know what your priority is, now you know the underlying reason why, and then you can pull in the feeling of it. Because for a lot of us, I don't think, we talk about the millionaire author destiny. For me, I don't even know if millionaire author destiny is my ultimate stopping point. I'd like it, but there's also a part of me that's like, I just want to trigger people. I want that conversation where they go, millionaire author, why? Because I want them to at least question, like, do they want that or do they not? And sometimes when you think you don't, it's because you think it's not possible. Well, if anything's possible, if the answer is already yes, then why are we stopping ourselves from going there? Then it becomes, how do we take a closer look? Are we stopping ourselves from going there because we're afraid that we're going to have to overcommit, like you just said, and go on all these tours and do all these things? Are we feeling like we have to, like, what does it look like for us if we get to that thing? Like there's all these questions, and then we have to ask ourselves before we get the clarity we want on the thing that we are actually trying to call in. And if it's just that slower, chill life so that you can enjoy things, well, then you can have that too. It's just getting that clarity.
Creating that balance.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Want some aspects of what this is over here, but you don't want to sacrifice some of the family things and your sanity. You want to be able to more of a balance.
Yeah. And because you've gone through this for as long as you have the clarity of, I want this to be successful and I want it to be sustainable and feel good and feel in alignment with all the other things in my life, because this author career is not the only thing in my life. Right. And so it's about then, because you have the clarity, then designing in your head what your ideal author career looks like. What if it was a millionaire author, but you don't have to do like the tours and you don't have to do these things? What if it all gets to work out in your favor in all the different ways that you want, but you just have to design it and get into alignment with it first? Yeah. Yeah. I feel you on that.
I'm dealing with. It's like,
yeah.
Well, and to go off of that, like if you're talking to your future self and getting that clarity, and not only, okay, what is the feeling, but if it's a completely different feeling than what we're feeling now, how or what steps can we take to start implementing that feeling little by little, so we do have that mindset or that feeling within us? Like whether it's like something as silly as investing in marketing, like if future Heather is like, oh, I love doing that. It's so easy for me to do that because I think my books are worth all of it. It's sort of like, okay, I want that feeling, but how now do I start incorporating the things so I can feel that like today or go on my way to feeling that, if that makes sense. Like,
it does.
yeah.
Actually, I have an analogy, I guess. So for me, I guess my first instinct and my first recommendation would be to get quiet then. So if you're wanting that and you're not feeling in alignment with it and all these things are feeling out of whack, it's probably because you're trying to do too much and it's not too much that is not in alignment with the thing that you're actually calling for. And here's the example. So for author revolution, for a long time, I'm like, I want this thing to kind of work like clockwork in the background. I want it to be something that I get to show up and give my best to you guys in person. And then in the background, a lot of it's automated. A lot of it does its own work. I want it to be kind of self-sustaining where I'm not having to put all this energy and effort into launches and all the things. And yet I felt like course creators, that's what they're doing and that's how they're operating. And it's like, on the other hand, then I've got the books and I'm trying to do the books and I'm trying to find that balance and it's just weird. And when everything kind of crashed, all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh my God, what the hell? So I had to get really still. And when I got really still, I dropped everything. Like I didn't try to create anything new, and anything that was done, I let be done. And what ended up happening was, and Heather, you had mentioned this even to me a while back, was that this idea of a membership. And I'm like, well, I have a membership. It's already there. Like they're already there. And it was like all of a sudden different pieces started lining up and I was able to hear the message of membership differently. And so now I'm realizing like all the courses that I have, I'm going to take them all away. Like no one can have access to the courses like as a solo thing unless I happen to launch it. So like in the fall, I'll do rapid release roadmap, whatever. And in the spring we'll do MAM. But otherwise, if they want access to the courses, it's about the membership so that I get to do the part that I love the most, which is the helping you, talking with you, to be able to give you the tools, to be able to be one-on-one like this with people. And so whenever I am selling, quote unquote, something for Author Revolution, it's one of two membership. It's either the mindset and manifestation or it's the aligned action stuff. That's it. And so everything will be like that. Those are the only two things that will be constantly open other than like your future self, and the masterclass membership will be open. Those things will be ongoing for right now, but they also get incorporated into those other memberships. So if you want the bigger package, like you get those things. And it just, to me, it feels so much more aligned because now I'm only having to worry every month about like, how am I showing up for my audience on TikTok and Instagram? Because I've decided those are the only two places that I'm going to put a lot of focus and energy on. How can I show up? How can I be more of me? How can they know more about what I do? And it just, all of a sudden, it was like this breath of fresh air, because this is what I was trying to call in. I was trying to call in this kind of easy, automatic, this all gets to work and flow in tandem with everything else I'm already doing with my books. Because obviously the books were the first love. And so it's like, how do I create this whole synergy between the whole thing? And it took me from May. So May to like where are we at? 16th?
August. Yeah.
Yeah. To August. So May to August of getting quiet, getting still, and asking the universe, like, what in the actual hell is going on right now? And getting clear on all the things that all of a sudden it dropped in. And I was just like, and then Heather's like, I'm pretty sure I told you that earlier. And all the messages you were talking about, how like, I'm really curious about how you're doing XYZ. And it was like, really? Like, okay. I was still in that burnout place of who's going to want to listen to me talk about whatever, you know what I mean? On social media. And now what's weird is I don't feel that. It's like it's shifted so dramatically that I sit in awe and just go, what in the actual
you can notice
happened?
a difference. Like for me, like when I watch your new Instagrams now versus like before, like at least I can notice a difference of like how you show up. Yeah.
Yay. Partially because I have a really good mentor. I signed up for Jamie C. She creates wealth membership, and in it, she's got like a social media challenge, and she shows up for content creators in the same way that I want to. That was the other thing. She was really kind of a catalyst where it's like, that's the audience that I want, but for authors. So she does it for entrepreneurs where it's like they've reached their I'm done point. Like, I don't know where else to go. I'm ready to do this thing. And I want to do the same thing for authors, because I think that's been like the part for me that I keep circling back to, where I keep having students obviously come back to where it's like, I'm doing all the things. Why is it not working? And it's like, okay, now we gotcha. And unbeknownst to me, I've been creating all the content for those 2 tracks this entire time. I just didn't realize that that's what I was doing.
I love it. It's like you're doing all the work, and then I always feel like we get the message, even if we hear it like 20 different times, we get it when we're supposed to, because now you did all the work. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Right.
you don't have to worry about creating all of this content. You've already done it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Well, I think that stops a lot of us, right? So when we're trying to create something, whether it's a successful author revolution or a successful author career, if we're intelligent, and we probably are for writing books, there's probably something in the background where it's like, well, I can't be successful because if I get successful and things blow up, then XYZ might happen, or I don't have the infrastructure set up to be able to do XYZ yet, or, whatever the case might be. And so then that's a level of resistance that our subconscious mind is putting out that we don't even realize we've done. And so we kind of have to go inward. We have to do some of this inner work to flush that to the surface, to go, okay, the reason I don't want my author career to go big yet is because I haven't installed the infrastructure so that when someone comments on my Instagram post, it automatically generates something. Well, shit, use ManyChats. I just learned about ManyChats again not long ago. And so I've implemented it for Instagram. Won't work for TikTok, which is really annoying, but at least
so annoying.
Yeah, but at least it's there for Instagram. And so it's like there's these levels of things where it's like, as soon as you realize I'm worried that X is going to happen, now you can either set yourself up for success so that if that's the case, it can happen and it's taken care of, or you can just go, oh, well, I don't care. Like, if it happens, then I'll deal with it. I have the capability, the capacity to be able to handle whatever gets thrown my way. And if you genuinely believe that, then you're shifting your energy there too. You've made a decision.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So good. Okay, so I've got that down. Clarity to embody the new you.
Good. So one thing I wanted to say is just thank you, because of all the courses that I have on my plate, this one I feel is the most support and most personal. Like,
Yay.
I feel like we have connections with one another that you just don't have in a lot of these other courses. So I appreciate all that.
Oh, thanks, Sherry. That's what I've wanted to create all along. It's just, to me, it's the number one relator in me. It's like, I want to be able to see you guys, to be able to know who you are, what you're dealing with. I like to know that you're dealing with like your grandson in your house. I love that. And then Terry with her 11 kids, and Heather with her rip behind her and all the things, and the bazillion kids at your house too. Like, I love that. It's my favorite part, because now I feel like I know you guys. You're my tribe. You're my peoples.
Well, and also, like, to go with what Sherry said, it is our relationship with you, but our relationship with each other. Because there are some courses where I feel like it's high school, where like they're the cool kids who are either writing in a certain genre or making certain money. And I can't go to them and ask them questions, like, because I feel like I'm not that cool kid. Whereas everyone in MAM, regardless of, I could go and ask and be like, oh, hey, like, what's your opinion on this or whatever. And I think that starts from the top and it trickles down too. So that's really, I'm grateful for that too. Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so happy. And that's what I want. Like, as this, I think there's a part of me. So speaking of like that growth thing, it's like there was always a part of me where it's like, I don't want to lose this part either. It's like, I don't want it to get to the point where it's so big that I don't feel like we're all connected. And it's like you just said, it's top down. So it's up to me and Tammy and whoever, you all, if you want, to be able to like embrace it all and bring people in. And if people need to be heard, they get to be heard, and we'll find a way to make it work no matter what. And I think that's what's most important.
Yeah, 100%.
We're all here as a community to do this together, and we're all trying to do the same thing at the same time. And some of us are at different levels of it, and that's all. Like that's it. That's all it is. It's just, we're trying to understand ourselves and understand our place in the world and how we get to move mountains.
I love it. I can't wait to watch you. You're gonna grow. I can't wait to watch it. And I'm just gonna be like,
thank you.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun.
I can't wait for Author Nation. That's going to be so fun. I have to create the first outline for the presentation and give it to Joe by the end of the month. And so I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Ah,
Exciting.
yeah, it's going to be cool. I got to get my
Yeah.
Kickstarter up and running too.
I don't even know how you do all that. I mean, I really don't. And every time I think, well, I don't know if I could. I know I go, Carissa does that, so if she can do that, I can do this for sure. So you're like the one person I can look to for inspiration.
That's
And
cute.
I'd be where I am if it weren't for you. And that,
WWCD.
yeah, exactly. And that first thing I took from you at the library, I instantly knew I could do this because I had no idea how I was going to do anything. And it's
Terry, actually, it's this
amazing.
way for me. Right? Terry's like OG. She was the one where in that class at my local library that I was teaching, and I was trying to figure out how to get those extra classes to people when it was snowing. She was one of those people who was at those classes in person.
That is so
No,
awesome. I love
it was,
that.
and then all the stuff that you had on that little, I don't even remember how you had it, but we had a little chat that we could go to where
Mhm.
you gave information that I could immediately use, and then it changed over and everything has just grown.
Yeah,
And
Facebook group when
you,
you could do like those little chats in the Facebook group for
yeah,
a while, and then they binned them out. I was so irritated.
but you know what I did? I took my phone and I screen capped them all and I printed them out.
Love it.
So them all.
I love
And
that.
so they have helped me through a lot of things too. I mean, especially right at first, because you weren't doing all of these things. And then, yeah, so I agree with her. I can't even imagine what you're going to
Oh,
achieve
I
because
think all
you
of you
are,
are going to achieve amazing things. I'm
but
waiting for all of you all to blow up.
yeah, well, you are definitely totally unstoppable. So
Mhm.
Oh, thank
anyway,
you.
yeah, it's
Makes me
just
feel good.
amazing.
I just
Yeah.
can't wait for all of, to me it's like your successes are my successes. And so I'm always looking to you guys. I'm like cheering you on when you guys have a new book. That's why I'm like, Heather, dude, let us know when you publish another damn book.
I get so weird, like, oh, there's Heather publishing another one again. Like, I don't want to be that person. So I'm just like over
And that's
here.
why people don't know what the hell's going on.
That is
Publish it.
so true. Oh my gosh, that is so
Pu-
true.
Publish
Yeah.
So
it
when you
somewhere.
publish another one, I want to know those things because
Yes.
in the
Yes, that's
class,
what the groups are for.
It's
the,
true.
so yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a great group, and I really feel honored to be in it too. So,
Yeah.
and
Yay. I'm so honored to have all of you. To be honest, we have like the best group, I swear. I don't really know what the other people's, the other courses are like or how they're operating, but man, we've got the best people. We got the best people over here.
Yeah,
well,
I agree.
they have courses everywhere, and there's not one of them I'm even interested in because I got what is perfect right now. Why would
Oh, thanks,
anyone?
Terry.
No, just right here. You've got it all. You do the right things at the right time. You have these great things like today, and I just go, wow, I needed this, and just to
I feel
give
like it's
yourself,
like Pat Chris on the back day. What is this?
you deserve pats
Oh,
on the
thank
back
you.
because you I don't know how you do what you do. I mean, it's
Some days I don't even know how I do what I do. I'm just like, I look back and I'm like, dang, yeah, I have done a lot of things.
Mhm.
Have you
you
ever
have
guys look at your stuff and then all of a sudden you're like, what? I've been kind of going through Mind Valley, Becoming Extraordinary, I think, from Vision. And he has this thing where, speaking of your future self, right? In order to tap into that next level one of the exercises he gives is that you look back at where you've been 5 years ago. And so I posted this on my Facebook thing where it was like you look back and go, take a look at all the things you've accomplished in the last 5 years. Write them down. Like I wrote down like how many books I've written, how many courses I've created, how many podcast episodes I've done, how many students I brought in, whatever it was, how many kids got their driver's license and effed off out of the house, like whatever it was like all the things. And I'm like, yeah, we've kind of come away since 5 years. And I think that in 5 years time, I'm not going to do it again. Of course it's going to be epic in another 5 more years. Of course it is. And it's just, we just need to look back sometimes to look forward, but not look back in a bad way, like where it's like, because I think a lot of people do that. We look at the past and we think we have to be stuck there. We look at our failures or the things that didn't work out the way we thought they should work out. But if you look at what you've actually accomplished, that's where the magic is. All of a sudden you're like, dang, I have done some stuff. Yeah.
Well, the older you get, the more you look back and go, oh my gosh, I did all that. And not necessarily in the book part, but just looking at everything.
Yeah, you've done a lot.
I only look at the really fun, wonderful things because most everything was like that for me. But the thing is, it's very good to do that from time to time, but it's also very good to what I call be here now. In other words, I always try to be right here today, every day, not in the past, not in the future thing that is, worrying about, I don't know, what's going on in the world or something. I just be here now. And so whenever I'm right here, believe me, I am right here now, listening to everything.
I love that.
So, yeah.
I think that's so powerful, Terry, because when we're putting ourselves into the future too, oftentimes we're putting ourselves into the future, like our innate idea is to go into the future with worry. It's like, I'm trying to bring this thing. So I'm already operating from a place of lack. So there's this thing that I want in the future that isn't here yet. And so there's a separation between me and it. And so we're coming from this vibrational disharmony of what we're trying to create to bring it in. Like we think we want to bring this thing, but we're bringing it in because we're feeling lack. And so that's where that emotion of like pulling in, like, how do you want to feel by having the thing that you want? That's what you focus on, is just, even if you only focus on the emotion of it, not even the thing itself, not the thing that you're trying to bring in, but the emotion it will give you. Now you're closer to the vibrational alignment than you are, even if you're just thinking about and visualizing it being yours, especially if there's that layer of resistance in the mix there, where you're feeling like, oh gosh, if it blows up, then this is going to happen, or I'm going to have to do these things, or, whatever is underlying in your subconscious mind about it. Where if you can drop any of it and just feel the feeling of it's already done, it's already here, it's already yours. None of the other stuff mattered, and it's all getting to work out exactly how you wanted. It's like, oh, so much ease, so much. Oh, I can breathe again. Of course it's going to be nice. Of course it's going to be lovely. And then now you're present with it, just like you said.
Right.
Yeah, that presence is really powerful.
Yep.
All this to say, whatever you decide to do for next month, I will definitely be there regardless of what it is. Yeah.
We will do something awesome and epic and amazing as always. But I already have it written down for sure. So, and I think next month for your future self, it's I can't remember what we called it. Tammy and I have already started working on September's, but it's like the first week's going to be about getting clarity. Actually, it's probably about this. So I'm going to have to do a meditation on it for sure, where it's like getting clarity on where you really want to be. And then for week 2 is like forgiving yourself. I think it's forgiving yourself for not being where you thought you'd be or where you wanted to go yet. Week 3 is releasing resistance, releasing fear, releasing like all the yucky stuff. And then I think week 4 is like loving yourself where you are now, and self-love and like that sort of thing with your author career. So that's, I can't remember what we end up calling it.
It's almost like that Hawaiian.
Yeah, almost like Ho'oponopono.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's cool.
Very similar.
I'm excited.
So Tammy gets very busy. She's got to know like mid-month so that she can start working on it right away and have like the entire thing done. I love her. She's so good. Man. I know, and I still have like 2 meditations. I've recorded them. I haven't mastered them yet for this month. I'm like, oh yeah, I better do that soon. But there's so many good ones for the quantum manifestation one that came to me. So I did a whole bunches of them.
Oh my gosh, I love all of them. I love that book launch one that was either yesterday or today. I can't remember, but that was good.
Going on manifestation alarm. See, I told you. I got little alarms that tell me to drop in and do the thing.
I love it. Thank you so much for today, Carissa.
You're welcome. I want to know if you start doing the heart coherence stuff and testing it, how do you feel? Like, do it a couple of days in a row, like even as little as 3 days, and just let me know how you feel after doing it, because it's wiggy, powerful stuff. I was surprised. Like I was even telling Colin, like we were sitting in the other room here is the library. And so we were sitting on the little love seat and I'm like, man, this is so weird. It's just like, I feel such a, like I haven't done anything yet. I haven't gone outside to do my walking, but I feel like the sense of like peace that just is like overlying everything. And he's like, oh, you kind of seem more chill. And then having conversations with him has been even more chill. So like, you know, when I for those of you who are in the know of the freelance stuff, right? I had 2 clients, and Heather knows this story. I had one where I knew, so this is just like it's so crazy. I'll tell you this one story and then I'll let you guys go. But back in February, I knew for sure that this one client, I felt like I was going to have to let go. Not because I disliked them, because they're wonderful. I've had such good experiences, but I've been working with them before I really kicked off Author Revolution. And so they've been, you know, in the background of things that I do, and I kind of help them with their social media. And then I move on with my day, and the rest of the day is work on Author Revolution or my writing. And so it just feels, it's starting to feel like it's disjointing me. It's starting to feel like it's pulling me out of my flow of what I'm trying to do. And so I was like, okay, universe, give me a sign when it's time to let this particular company go as my freelance client. I want to see. So Gabby Bernstein talks a lot about asking for symbols from the universe.
Yeah.
And so I asked for the symbol of a blue butterfly is what I wanted it to be. And I wanted to know, like, feel the zing of recognition when it arrives, that is what it's meant for. Like literally, I wanted there to be no doubt. and so months go by, and a couple of days ago, I had seen a yellow butterfly flitting around my flowers on my deck, and I was like, nope, still not it. Like it was like in my mind, like I recognized it. And then 2 days after that, I had I don't even know. It was just like, I think Colin had gotten up early, and I was in bed. I'm like, I don't want to go downstairs yet because it was like 5:20 in the morning. I was like, just too early. Like, why? He had got up before me, and so he went downstairs and woke me up. So I was scrolling through Instagram, and I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around what I'm gonna do for the day. I'm looking to see if I can find this thing because Heather's already seen it, but I'm like, dude, this was just wild. Where is it? It was just so creepy. Nope, 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 nope. Oh my God. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, stop. Pause. Okay. So I was scrolling through Instagram, and my heart literally stopped beating. Like, not only blue butterfly, look at the words. I was like, okay. I was like, if it can't be any more clear than that, I don't know what can be. And so I told Colin at first, I'm like, you know, I got this sign. I told him the same thing that I told you. And he's like, do you really think that's a good idea? Like, I mean, you've been working with them for a long time. They've been a really good client. You know, things have been a little bit wonky. Like, are you sure you're ready for that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like if I don't take the action and listen to when the universe has told me, because I've asked for it, that I'm not showing up as the person who believes, right? And so I went into my advisory board meditation that Heather was talking about, where I called in I only wanted to talk to Buddha. So I have an advisory board for Author Revolution. It's Jamie C., Amanda Francis, Amy Porterfield, Oprah, because why not, Joe Dispenza, Buddha, and Richard Branson. And so the usually I bring the whole crew in when I do this meditation. And this time I decided to just bring in Buddha. And Buddha was like, I was like, hey, Buddha, so I got this sign. Like, is this really the sign that I was looking for? And he was like, well, do you want it to be? And I was like, like in my head, like, yeah, kind of. Well, why do you want it to be? Because I feel like I'm kind of done with this and I'm ready to move on and want to see what else comes in. Well, then do you or do you not trust yourself? And I was just like, oh, ouch. Okay. I get that. Okay. Yeah. And I came out of I thanked him, came out of the meditation. I'm like, can I get just one more sign? And so I was shuffling my Oracle card deck. It was like the Threads of Fate card deck. And the first card that came, like the card that flew out was Get Creative. And I'm like, well, I guess, that makes sense. But it wasn't quite like what I was looking for. And I flipped the page and it was Trust. And I don't even know why I flipped the page, but it was like, then I got that zing of recognition. I was like, dang, okay, they got me to that card just so I'd flip the page and then recognize it because of the way that it was just an energetic, like, oh, this is thing. So then today, I did actually let them go. I wrote them an email and I did the thing and whatever. And I actually got the trust card again today when I asked for the sign. But when I talked to him about like, yeah, I did the thing. I let this particular client go. We had such a great conversation about it. There was not a, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. Like, this is not a good time. Like there was none of that. I was expecting it, but there was not. And we had like just a great conversation about trusting yourself, about going with your intuition and knowing when things are time to, it was wild. Like because I showed up as my higher self, he showed up as his. And I was just like, dang, why didn't I do this sooner? So crazy, so good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so
Wow.
good.
Take some leaps. When you start feeling like you're starting to grow, do that thing that scares you just a little bit. That terror excitement is going to put you on the other side of something really cool. And I still don't know what's going to happen. Like I'm done with this particular client at the end of the month. So the 31st will be my last day doing any other social media stuff. And starting in September, I'm like, I only have the one client left. And he is also, I think his vibe is a lot like ours though. Like he's an indie gypsy jazz guitarist. And so he has just like an artsy vibe. And he's just, he's such a sweetheart. So good, so nice. And he knows nothing about social media. So I don't even know what he would do. He would freak out. And so it's like, I don't mind doing his stuff. His stuff is still in alignment, at least as of right now, heart wise. So
yeah,
it is just what it is, but so funny. So yeah,
that's
that was my
awesome.
crazy experience lately with trusting my intuition and seeing some signs.
That's
So hopefully that
awesome.
means big things are coming, and I had to let my client go because
Big things are coming for you.
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
love these guitar. I love gypsy guitar.
Yeah, his name's Reynold Filipsic.
I was actually listening to some this morning. What a coincidence. Isn't that weird?
That's amazing. Yeah,
I
look up
know.
Reynold. He's amazing. Reynold Filipsic, and he's actually from Minnesota. He's from St. Cloud originally. He lives in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis area now.
Yeah, what's his name again?
Reynold Filipsic. So it's REYNOLD. I'm like, I had to remember how to spell Reynolds. REYNOLD. And then Filipsic, it's Philip. So PHILIP, Philip Sek, SEK.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's a neat guy. He's so sweet. I think he just turned 70 or something. So he's just he does not like social media at all. He likes his music. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's neat. I'll look him up.
Cool. Awesome.
Well, have a good weekend, everybody. It's so good talking to you.
Too. It's good talking with you too. Have a wonderful weekend. And if you have anything that comes up for you guys, you know where to find me. You guys are all in ma'am. So make sure you leave comments up in there. And I'm always here. Don't ever feel bad of asking questions. Right, Heather?
Yes, don't feel bad or apologize.
Let me know.
Yes, no apologizing, or I will get after you about apologizing.
I'll remember that.
Good.
All right,
so much.
bye guys.
Bye.
Have a great rest of the weekend.
You too.
Bye.